And his job is to take care of the department heads and give them instructions of some things to do if they are having some problems. So I don't expect Mr. Wolf to go out and dig a ditch or go out and cut grass. That's not his job. His job is just to pass that information on where those people need to be placed. So, and I always tell them, if you need some help, call me and let me know, and I'll come and help you. But he does do the job, and he takes care of it. That's all I can say. And when somebody was talking about something here, Sheila, about this house, I kind of looked at him to see if I even called him, because see, normally I call him when I get a complaint from a citizen. So, what I wrote some notes. I got 2 pages here, and I will. You probably see me in your area here next day or 2, and I think we're gonna have some rain about 4 or 5 days here. But we are looking at these issues. Now, on my street where I live, and I live on Bourbon, and we've had some problems with drugs. We call the sheriff, they come out. Now, you don't call them once. You gotta call them every time you see a problem. You give them a call. So we see the sheriff comes by. If we make a call, we'll see them come by, or the officer will stop close by, so that you, if you're looking at the window or something, you'll see him, know that he's there. Now, our situation, as far as the drugs, has died down some, but it takes that effort that you gotta call every time you see them. And they will come out. And normally what the captains normally do, if you're making that call, they will make contact with you and give you their number and tell, and they will come anytime you call. They will send somebody by. Now, they do that, and I've seen this happen quite a bit. So, just keep making the calls. Now, there's some things you gotta be careful, because, you know, things are not like they used to be.
Exactly.
So, you gotta be careful out there. So, I will make some contact with you and let you know, or tell you, because I will have a talk with the captain also about these issues. So we want to try to get things done. Now, as far as the road problem, Mr. Wolf has been writing on there also. So I'm going to say your problem there should be taken care of, because there's no sense in me asking him. I see him writing, and I know he's got it down.
But we don't need no more patch up. We need the whole street done.
Yes, they used to do that, painted the whole
And you can
Jefferson
see
Township,
it.
and they also used to put our
Certain
address
streets.
on the curb
Okay.
out of Jefferson
Now,
Township.
the name, the address on the curb was somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but it was done, it looked really neat and nice, and it looked pretty out there.
But I'm talking about the
I
street
think
as a
that
whole.
everybody
Since
pays.
we getting money,
But what we,
maybe you can do 2 sons.
There you go.
we tried to take care of some problems with issue 2 money, and we ended up getting it, and then we couldn't get everything straightened out. So, yeah, there's, and I will talk about, Mr. Wolf, if you had Tucson on that list.
It's been there since the water main break. It's the Montgomery County Environmental Services, their water main break, because they supply water to you. And they're
No,
responsible
she's
for all
talking
that
about
damage.
down by her house.
I understand where her house is, I
But
understand.
my house is a big hole. That's-
Right, and,
That's what she-
and we're arguing with the county about them coming out. If you notice, they just patched a big hole on 35 coming off of the connector going westbound just now. And that water main break happened when it was snowing out. So unfortunately, we just have to continue to call them and say, fix the problem. Now, the hole down by your house, it needs to be cut out, and we don't have the equipment. We've said it in multiple meetings to cut it out and do it the right way. So we've asked the trustees to get us some equipment and rent it, or let us subcontract it and get it done.
But you guys fixed it and you're not, the whole street needs done.
I understand,
Whole two
but
signs and them told, where she gonna live, need done. And since we're getting money, maybe that should be.
Well, they
the
should.
first one,
Yep.
Be done.
when they hired the
That's what I'm
firm
saying.
3 years ago, they hired Choice One Engineering, and they ranked all the streets based on what was bad, the worst, and what was good, every street in the township. And they have a ranking, the trustees do. Then the next year, they started hiring firms to do work in those the worst roads. I'm talking about where there's bridge failure.
So you said they decide who,
Yeah, they have to pass the resolution to do that.
the trustee?
Yeah,
the three trustees.
and by the Ohio Revised Code, the trustees are 100% responsible for the
Well,
conditions of the
I want to come
roadways.
by my house and I'll show them.
Now,
They-
let me finish up my,
Report.
yes. I was at a meeting here, last week, and the guy sitting, across the table from me, we, ended up, talking, and he does things with the road. So I asked him to, give me a call, that's why I told you about Tucson, not Tucson, but, Pony Road 40. So anyway, I want to get the measurements and have him take a look at this and see what he can do for us. So there is people that you make contacts in some of these meetings, that they will come in and help you. And he didn't say we were gonna have to pay some money. We know we're gonna have to pay some, but he said there were some things that could help us with. So we will take a look at
Well, I hope you go, my whole street, they need done.
But regardless, we're gonna do something on some roads. So-
But you have done something in the past and you just go right back, it's not doing any good, you need to do something that lasts at least for 5 or 6 years. That's my point.
All right, we will get the right help to come in and advise us on what needs to be done. If we take the project on, we will get something.
I hope you do, I hope I don't have to go to the newspaper and see what, find out what's going on out here.
All right, that's all. Thank you.
For my report, I'd like to welcome everybody back. Welcome to our new meeting room. This is our first meeting, so we're still kind of, probably have to work a few bugs out on this. But it's nice to see everybody back, get back to the old Jefferson meetings.
Feeling good to be back.
I was out on Corning Road, it was complained about at the last meeting. I went, saw the before, and also saw after, and there was quite a bit of patchwork done on some, the whole road was delaminating in some areas. Was out there doing that. Kevin from the road department is very conscientious. He's our team lead. He has a very good customer service attitude. If you leave a message for him on an issue, dead animal, nuisance mowing, he's pretty receptive on getting back with you. If it's not, if it's something that he can authorize, a lot of what you brought to the table tonight are nuisance issues. Captain Flagg's not here to discuss everything going on Altram, but I've seen the run sheets and the calls for service, and I've personally been out there at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night with the cruisers, sitting in that court, watching some of the houses that you all have complained about. So I've gotten phone calls, I'm having dinner and getting phone calls about this and then leave to go out and look at some of that. Doesn't happen all the time, but I have looked into this because the issue on Altram keeps coming up. With that being said, keep in mind, we're contracted for 2 cruisers to cover 27 square miles and 40 miles of roadway. They can't sit on that street 24/7, but you do get a lot of service. And we've been trying to deal with this, but legally so far, we're working through a lot of tricky issues. Complaints, you gotta put your name. If you're gonna complain about something, if you're gonna call the police, you can't do an anonymous complaint, and the same goes with the trustees. I'm getting phone calls, and well, nobody wants to name a name, but the only way to get anything done is to own up to it, file a formal complaint so that we can run it through the
No,
channels.
that's not right. You don't have to give your name. You don't have to give your name if you don't want to. There's too many older residents that's afraid to call the police or contact the office on their neighbor because of their fear of retribution. And they won't do it. The police that told me at one of our meetings, you don't have to give your name if you don't want to. You just report the event.
Well, I'm also talking about zoning complaints, stuff like that. Tracy called me with one about One Business Park. People are using that to dump instead of to recycle. Well, she had to put her name on it because she didn't want to give up whoever called her about that. But we've got tracking mechanisms, we've got reporting. So if there's doubt that we're not working, there's a paper trail to go with it. And as far as how many hours you put in, that's a very difficult thing to say as a trustee because it depends on what's going on in the township at the time. So, for example, I get a call from the fire chief needing backhoe to come clean up a fire. So, it's 8 o'clock at night. It takes about an hour to get that all dispatched out and make sure that we've got people coming to help out. Real bad fire over here.
It was a Page and
Paige and
well, it's Teddy and Page come out there at the intersection.
so forth. Got the fair coming up, that's a busy week for the township, and it just depends on what kind of crisis we've had. Weather come through, that'll bring us into action, so just because you don't get a report at a meeting doesn't necessarily mean we're not doing our job. And some of you care less if I get a report.
No, that's not true. You guys
So-
never give a report. You never give a report about anything you've done. I've never heard that.
So,
And then our money is being spent. You're taking our money, and the things we need, we don't have out here. Now, you're gonna be getting money. We need a filling station. We need a grocery store. Do you know how hard it is for somebody who doesn't have a car to get you a grocery store? You know?
Can I say something about that money? You guys, we don't even know what that money is gonna be able to be used for, so please don't think that you're gonna get that money for what you're thinking you're getting for. We have to find out. Mr. Wolf has already told you we don't have the full definition of what that money is for yet. It could be exactly what the coronavirus was for, but we don't know. So please don't think that that's gonna get you guys a new road or anything you need. We don't know yet. So keep that in mind, just like the amount we're getting, we don't know yet.
But you do know what is needed out here.
We know that, but that has nothing to do with what the federal government is giving us money for.
I know all about it. But what
Okay, so
saying
then
is,
I'm just
you know what
telling
is
you.
needed out here exactly.
We know that, but that has nothing to do with the money, I'm just talking about the money.
Well,
I'm
why
not
not
talking
you
about
then?
what you're needing out here, I'm talking about, please don't think that that money can go to that. We will tell you when we get the notice, it will be told by Mr. Wolf, when we get the notice, what that money can be used
And
for.
who makes that decision?
The federal government.
No, our,
The federal government decides it.
Not
At
out
that
here.
point in time, the
Not out
trustees have to follow the guidelines of the federal government.
You
That's-
should
that's-
get
that's
help,
all.
Mr. Wolf, is there something?
I mean, they're.
No, I'm agreeing with Tracy. The federal government tells you what you can spend that money on. They conduct this expenditure, but they can't make it up.
So, let me ask you a question. If you send information saying the area you live in needs certain things, would it then say that you can't, you know?
No. Federal government tells you what you can spend the money on.
Okay.
With any grants, well, any grant, there's strings attached, for example, 10% match funds. Same thing with the money, they're gonna have rules on how we can administer it, and it's up to us to justify the expenditure within their guidelines, so it's not a blank check.
I know it. I know it.
Move to adjourn.
To finish.
Roll call. Trustee Mann.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee McGuire.
Yes. We're
I
adjourned
think it all started
at
with Jim, and
9:10.
then that's what it Can I started show from. you trustees, I'm gonna get flagged. This is part of the frustration.
You know, you did me a favor over there once.
That we as,
I had,
that we as residents